Living in South Florida means you're always aware of the risk of hurricanes and flooding, but the intense rain that hit Miami-Dade and Broward counties last week caught many by surprise. The rain was so heavy that part of Interstate 95 in Broward was closed due to flooding. Roads in places like Hollywood and Miami Beach became impassable. An emergency flash flood warning was even declared. We've seen similar situations before, but the historic flooding in Fort Lauderdale earlier this year, even before the 2023 hurricane season started, shocked residents and officials alike. The city had to use airboats to rescue people from their homes, and the next day, abandoned cars were scattered across downtown streets, trapped by the water. When we hear about the threat of flooding and rising sea levels due to climate change, it often feels like a distant future issue. But this week's heavy rains proved that South Florida isn't fully prepared for rising water levels, despite local governments and the state spending millions to keep streets dry. Anyone driving through downtown Miami on a rainy day can see how quickly the streets flood. This is the new reality. When hurricanes hit, residents have time to prepare. But this week, many were caught off guard. Despite days of flood warnings in some areas, weather forecasters were late in warning us about the storm's worst effects. In the future, they might need to develop new types of warnings to convey the severity of such events. The rate of sea level rise has increased in recent years. As the cost of insuring homes and vehicles goes up, the financial impact on local governments and residents is huge. Scientists agree that the real answer to South Florida's predicament is to slow down the burning of fossil fuels that cause climate change. The scientific community has warned about the dangers of rising global temperatures. Beyond combating climate change on a global scale, our local and state officials need to step up efforts to prepare South Florida for the worst. For example, Miami voters approved a bond referendum in 2018 to fund solutions for rising sea levels. But there's been constant criticism that the projects aren't moving fast enough. Florida has taken unprecedented steps to help communities fund these kinds of projects. Governor Ron DeSantis appointed a resilience officer to prepare Florida for the environmental and economic impacts of rising sea levels. But this year, he signed a bill lowering the standards for sea level rise projects eligible for state funding and another bill removing references to climate change from Florida laws. Public works projects can take years to come to fruition. This week showed that residents and businesses need to be mentally and physically prepared for flooding, even when it seemed predictable, like tracking hurricane spaghetti models. Miami underwater is becoming a reality we need to accept. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. See you in the next video.